1963, Barbados. A year that would mark the beginning of an extraordinary and mysterious story. A warm breeze swept across the island. Ocean waves crashed rhythmically against the shore, creating a symphony of nature. Amidst the island's vibrant life, June and Jennifer Gibbons were born. Twins, identical. Their birth brought joy but also an air of mystery. Their arrival, however, was different. Their silence was different. It was as if they carried a secret from the moment they were born. The girls, even as babies, were unusually quiet. Their silence was not just a lack of sound, but a presence of something deeper. They spoke little, even to their parents. Their communication was minimal, almost non-existent. Doctors were consulted, tests were conducted. Specialists tried to understand the enigma of their silence. Answers remained elusive. The silence deepened. It was as if the twins were living in a world separate from everyone else. As they grew, so did their isolation. They became more withdrawn, more secluded. They inhabited a world of their own, a world where only they existed, a world that was impenetrable to outsiders. They spoke to each other, yes, but in a language only they understood. A secret language that bound them together and kept others out. Their silence was a wall, impenetrable and unsettling. It was a barrier that no one could break through. It set them apart, made them different. Their silence was both their shield and their prison. It was the beginning of their chilling tale, a tale that would intrigue and mystify all who heard it. Their world was small, contained within the walls of their home. Their bond, however, was immense. They were two halves of the same whole, inseparable and dependent. Their secret language strengthened their bond. It was a complex system of words and sounds, indecipherable to others. It was their escape, their sanctuary from a world that didn't understand. School was a nightmare. The other children found them strange, their silence unnerving. The twins retreated further into their world, finding solace only in each other. They wrote stories, poems, plays. Their words, though unspoken to the outside world, were filled with darkness, with longing, with a strange and unsettling beauty. Their silence bred fear. Neighbors whispered about them, casting nervous glances their way. Their isolation became a self-fulfilling prophecy. They were labeled as strange, abnormal. Their behavior, their silence, was seen as a threat, an indication of something sinister lurking beneath the surface. Even their parents, desperate to understand, were kept at bay. The twins' world had no room for outsiders, not even those who loved them most. Their silence was a shroud, hiding their thoughts, their feelings, their true selves. It was a silence that screamed. Their diaries were a window into their world, a world of darkness and despair. They wrote of their hatred for the outside world, their contempt for those who couldn't understand. June wrote of Jennifer, "She is my shadow, my nightmare. I wish I could escape her." Jennifer wrote of June, "She is my jailer, my tormentor. I am trapped inside her." Their words were filled with rage, with resentment, with a chilling awareness of their own destructive bond. They were two sides of the same coin, locked in a battle for dominance. Their diaries were a testament to the power of their bond, a bond so strong it could both sustain and destroy. Section 5. Confined by silence. In the dimly lit corridors of the institution, shadows seemed to whisper secrets of the past. Their behavior became increasingly erratic. Acts of vandalism, petty thefts. It was as if they were crying out for help, but in the most destructive ways possible. They seemed intent on pushing the world away, on solidifying their isolation. Each act of defiance was a brick in the wall they built around themselves. Their parents, at their wits' end, made the difficult decision to have them committed. It was a heart-wrenching choice, born out of desperation and love. They were sent to Broadmoor, a high-security mental hospital, home to some of Britain's most notorious criminals. The imposing walls of the facility loomed large, a stark contrast to the freedom they once knew. The hope was that separation would help, that it would break their bond and allow them to finally find their own voices. Doctors and parents alike clung to this fragile hope, believing it was the key to their recovery. It was a hope that would prove tragically misplaced. The dark clouds of despair continued to hang over them, casting long shadows on their journey. In the cold, sterile environment of Broadmoor, their bond intensified. The harsh lighting and clinical surroundings only served to deepen their connection, making it unbreakable. They refused to speak to anyone but each other, their silence a form of protest, a weapon against a world that had failed them. Their whispers were a testament to their unyielding bond, a silent rebellion against the forces that sought to tear them apart. Time seemed to stand still in Broadmoor, each tick of the clock a reminder of their confinement. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, but their silence remained unbroken. Occasionally there were glimmers of hope, small acts of kindness that pierced through the darkness. But these moments were fleeting, overshadowed by the weight of their shared silence. In their silence, they found other ways to communicate. Journals filled with thoughts and emotions became their voice, a window to their inner world that no one else could understand. And so, confined by silence, they continued their journey, bound together by an unspoken understanding, navigating a world that could never truly comprehend their bond. Section 6. A sacrifice in silence. Years passed. The twins remained confined, their lives suspended in a state of perpetual silence. Then, the unthinkable happened. Jennifer died. She died suddenly, mysteriously, of myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart muscle. There was no logical explanation. Some whispered of a pact, a sacrifice made to free the other. June was devastated. She mourned the loss of her other half, the only person who had ever truly understood her. Yet, there was a sense of relief, a sense of freedom. Jennifer's death broke the chains of their silence. June began to speak, to interact with others. It was a slow, painful process, but it was a start. Section 7. The Echo of One Voice. June's voice, once silent, was now a torrent of words. Her silence had been a shield, a barrier against the world, but now it was broken, and her words flowed like a river unleashed. She spoke of her childhood, her bond with Jennifer, their shared isolation. They were inseparable, two halves of a whole, living in a world that often seemed indifferent to their existence. She spoke of the darkness, the despair, the longing for connection. The nights spent whispering secrets to each other, the days filled with a silence that was both comforting and suffocating. She wrote a book, The Silent Twins, a harrowing account of their lives, their bond, their descent into madness. Each page was a testament to their struggle, their love, and their pain. It was a story that captivated and horrified the world. Readers were drawn into the twins' enigmatic world, a place where silence spoke louder than words. June's story was a reminder of the power of silence, of its ability to both isolate and connect. Silence can be a prison, but it can also be a sanctuary, a place where one can find solace and understanding. It was a reminder of the importance of communication, of the need to understand and be understood. In a world filled with noise, the quiet moments often hold the most profound truths. Jennifer's death remained a mystery. Was it a sacrifice, an act of love? Or was it a desperate attempt to escape the shadows that had always surrounded them? Or was it simply a tragic end to a life lived in the shadows? The questions lingered, unanswered, echoing in the silence that June had finally broken. Section 8. A Bond Beyond Understanding. Their story continues to fascinate and disturb. It is a story of love and hate, of dependence and resentment, of two souls bound together by an invisible thread. It is a story that challenges our understanding of identity, of the nature of self. Were June and Jennifer two separate individuals, or were they, as they believed, two halves of the same whole? Their story raises more questions than it answers. What caused their silence? What was the nature of their bond? And why did Jennifer die? These questions continue to haunt us, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lie hidden within the human heart. Section 9. The Silence Remains. June Gibbons now lives a quiet life. She has found peace, a sense of normalcy that eluded her for so long, but the silence remains. It is the silence of her sister Jennifer whose presence is still felt, a ghostly echo in the corridors of June's memory. It is the silence of their shared past, a past that can never be fully understood or explained. And it is the silence of the unanswered questions, the mysteries that continue to swirl around their story, a chilling reminder of the depths of human experience and the enduring power of silence.